Marvel fans were given quite the surprise on September 13th when the first trailer for Hawkeye dropped. The new MCU series marks the fourth live-action show from Disney+, following WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki. Clint Barton is the only original Avenger to be given their own spin-off series, likely meaning a solo flick for the character won't be coming. The new trailer hints that Hawkeye will be a fun, action-packed watch set during Christmas time in New York City. We get to see what Clint has been up to since the events of Avengers Endgame, and it looks like things haven't slowed down for him one bit. Alongside Jeremy Renner as Barton, Hailee Steinfeld is at the trailer's center, portraying Kate Bishop from the comics. Vera Farmiga is also briefly featured, playing Kate's mother. As with every Marvel trailer, there are some small details that can be easily missed. Here's a quick rundown. The first part of the trailer shows Clint enjoying a festive meal with his children. Then we hear a voiceover of Clint saying, "I'm making up for some lost time." It's a pretty generic turn of phrase, bordering on cliché, but in this context it takes on added meaning as an obvious allusion to the blip. In the opening scene of Avengers Endgame, we see a Barton family afternoon disrupted by Thanos to heartbreaking results. Clint discovers his entire family dusted by the snap. This is a huge turning point for the character, and as we've seen, it will inform the events of this series. In the wake of the snap, Hawkeye goes on a vengeful murder spree until Natasha Romanoff brings him back to the Avengers. Clint's double life as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent and family man sets him apart from the rest of the Avengers. We're excited to see the tension between the two in this upcoming series.
I'll be home for Christmas. I promise.
As the trailer opens, fans get a glimpse of New York's famous Broadway theaters, although in this universe, a new musical is making waves, Rogers the Musical. Advertised with a photo of Steve Rogers himself and staged at what appears to be the real-life Lunt-Fontanne Theater on 46th Street in Manhattan, Rogers the Musical shows that Cap's legacy remains strong no matter who's currently donning the suit, and that nostalgia for Steve Rogers is apparently at an all-time high. Beyond that, the brief look at the musical itself looks pretty familiar to anyone who loved one of Disney Plus's biggest 2020 releases, Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda's Tony Award-winning musical about one of America's founding fathers. Much like Hamilton, this fictional musical seems to employ a relatively sparse stage and features every supporting character in Steve's life on stage at the same time for a seemingly epic number, including Clint, who can be seen on the second level of the stage wielding his signature bow and arrow. Whether or not Hawkeye features a longer look at Rogers the Musical remains to be seen, but Hamilton fans might get an extra kick out of this potential subplot, which also brings to mind Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, the pricey, real-life Broadway flop that wasn't nearly as well received as the fictional Rogers the Musical appears to be. Although Hawkeye's main arc in the show revolves around the Archer teaching Kate Bishop the ropes, the duo will also have their own street-level threat to deal with over the holidays. Fans familiar with Matt Fraction's Hawkeye comic series will probably recognize the red tracksuit-wearing gangsters in the first trailer. They're clearly the tracksuit Draculas, the thugs that Clint goes up against when he forcefully buys the apartment building from one of its members, Ivan Banionis. Suggestive name aside, they're not vampires. Tracksuit Draculas is actually a pejorative term derived by Clint and bestowed upon the Goon Squad. They're just regular thugs, but they have ties to bigger figures in the Marvel underworld, like Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. It looks like Banionis is also in the trailer, as we see a large man with a mustache and a black tracksuit jacket pointing a gun at Clint while he's tied to a chair. Because the tracksuit Draculas failed to defeat Clint in Fraction's run, Ivan Banionis hires an assassin called the Clown to take out the Avenger. Irish star Fra Fee took to Twitter in December 2020 to confirm that he's playing the Clown in the series, although he doesn't show up in the first trailer. Since Marvel Studios and Disney Plus are clearly leaning on the Matt Fraction Hawkeye comic series, it's no surprise that the trailer shows off one of the most important characters from that run, Lucky the Pizza Dog. That's right, true believers, Hawkeye's getting a canine sidekick. In Fraction's series, Lucky belongs to the Tracksuit Mafia. In a particularly brutal scene, the gangsters beat Lucky after he helps Hawkeye in a fight. Thankfully, Hawkeye rushes him to a vet and the lovable Pooch survives, albeit without his left eye. You just can't put a good dog down. Anyway, the trailer only provides a brief look at Lucky to assure fans that he's in the Disney Plus series, but this glimpse confirms that he only has the one eye. It'll be interesting to see whether Hawkeye gives Lucky his comics-accurate backstory, or if it'll adapt it slightly to fit within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hopefully, the writers really take inspiration from Fraction's run where Lucky's concerned and give him his own mini-adventure in one of the episodes. Hawkeye number 11 follows Lucky as he tries to solve a murder. Yes, that's right, he's a detective, and a perfectly capable one. The issue doesn't feature captions or word balloons. Instead, it shows how dogs perceive things via smell. It's an inventive comic book, to say the least, and it'd be great if the show honors it in some way. And finally, in a blink and you'll miss it moment, a threatening face appears in the trailer covered in red light. This appears to be Aliqua Cox's character, Maya Lopez, also known as Echo in the Marvel Comics. First appearing in Daredevil Volume 2, Number 9, Echo is a deaf Native American from the Cheyenne Nation. She has an arsenal of abilities including photogenic reflexes, acrobatics, and is a master of martial arts. Something important to know here is that Echo also has ties to Kingpin. Her father once worked for the mobster who Vincent D'Onofrio plays in the Daredevil Netflix series. For some time, rumors suggested the actor would be reprising his role as the mob leader, and without a real villain present in the trailer, it looks like this might prove true. Echo also appears in the Moon Knight and Secret Invasion comic book storylines, meaning it's also possible the character could appear in those Disney Plus series as well. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about Hawkeye are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.